Last night's show, I played hurt. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm going to tell you why next.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
It's lunchtime. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunch with the Clydesdale. It is me solo today. Corey had to take care of some family things today, but hopefully he'll be back tomorrow, and we'll get back to the fun and frivolity of it all. Last night, man, I played hurt. I was having some stomach issues before the show last night, and the only thing that felt good was ice cold fruit. And thankfully, my wife had cut up some cantaloupe, cut up some strawberries, and put some blackberries in little bowls in the fridge so you can just grab them. And I ate a blackberry right before the show went live, and the seed got stuck in my tooth, and it was there for the entire show. It was the most annoying thing ever. Doing the show, it's stuck there every time you talk. You can feel it. Trying to get past it. I love the flavor of a good blackberry. It reminds me of when I was a kid. My aunt had some blackberry bushes. We had some in the back of our yard. And you pick them fresh off the bush, tree, whatever. I just love them so much. But those seeds, dang. I don't remember as a kid that being an issue. I wonder if as you age, the gap just gets to be, or the crevice in your tooth just gets to a point where that seed just neatly fits in there, and then you cannot dislodge it. You just can't. So I did that all last night, but I did it for you all. It's a great show last night. I got to fight with Carolyne. Jamie was starting to fight, and then we ended the show. So, Blackberry souvenirs. Yeah. A Hexy Lover also says, how can there only be a handful of people waiting for the best daily show? My gosh, you are so awesome, Hexy Lover. You say such kind things in the chat. You're the best. We got Ortega here. We got Jenny here. We got Jay Birch. We got Vicky and Joseph and Jason Bourne. Yeah, Amanda went to Louisiana. Why do you go to a Louisiana? Competition, training. What was happening in Louisiana? Jay Birch says Jamie was starting a fight. Yeah, starting a fight. She wasn't as frisky last night as Carolyne. Yeah, Carolyne and I don't know if we're ever going to agree on. I think that, oh, cool. Amanda's daughter is in the Coast Guard. She just got promoted. Well, that's a really good reason to go to Louisiana. It's always awesome seeing your kid do well. Yeah, my kid she was up at Lake Chatelaine in Idaho, filming a new spot for her company. The pictures were gorgeous. I know Greg Glassman has a home up there. It just was amazing. She got back last night. She was so tired. She just kind of conked out. Lots of people going to Mayhem this weekend. I don't even remember what I was talking about now. Oh, well. Mayhem is this weekend. We got lots of people in the chat going. I know the Reeds are going. I know Vicky's going. I know Ortega's going to be there. My question to you is, when do you go? The first event is not, I'm guessing because it's a run, it's not even going to be like viewable by the spectators. And so do you try to be there Friday, or is your main concern to be there by Saturday? So, and Vicky got me back on track. Just wonder what the schedule is. Yeah, I know the schedule is not for spectators, Vicky, for Friday, but do you try to get there? Do you try to meet up with people? What is the plan? How do you plan out your trip to Mayhem when it's a 2-day event? So just curious. We'll talk about that in a minute. I think what Carolyne and I were fighting about, and probably will always fight about, is that I think that basically CrossFit grew too big for its britches. We started renting all these big arenas for regionals, for semifinals, whatever they were at the time. And I really think that we need to go take a step back to take a couple steps forward. And I think that it would be cheaper to get facilities that were outdoor. Until, excuse me. One thing is we need to go back to a regional setup with one shot, and then get a place that meets the needs of that region, whether it be an outdoor high school stadium, a Division III college stadium, a local abandoned supermarket. I don't know. And then as you grow, then you start looking at different venues, different things. Carolyne is always going to look at it from the athlete point of view, where she will want it to be fair for everyone across the regions to get to the games. And I get that, but I just don't think we're big enough yet to take all that on. Like Australia has proven they can fill an arena for a regional semifinal. Torian Pro is packed each and every year. They have proven that they can fill that arena. So for them, they don't need to take that step back. They can keep holding the Torian at that arena because they fill it every time. If it's done well in Europe, they've proven that they can fill the arena. In the US, I think we need a reset. We need to get back to where the drama is back. The impending doom is back. Am I going to make the games? And then see if that starts drawing people back to those regional type events. But we can't afford big arenas for every one of them. And so I think you find something appropriate for whatever region you're in, whatever you think you can fill. And Ortega says NCC can fill a venue, but they don't need to. The beauty of NCC is that it's outdoors, that it's grassroots. And as long as it's a good test to get to the games, which, by the way, Carolyne made it to the games from last year, it was outdoors. Some of those elements you have to take on. And I am betting that renting that park is way cheaper than renting the Del Mar Fairgrounds. So it is done. So NorCal got people to the games. Granite Games did it for 2 years at the Vikings facility. They were both outdoors. Technically, Del Mar is outdoors. It just has a roof over it. Jonathan, I'm saying that I don't know about the number of semis. What I'm saying is there needs to be one shot for the athlete to go from the semifinal level to the games. There's no tension at Mayhem this weekend because if you don't make it, you have 3 more shots. You can sign up for 2 more semifinals. You can do the in affiliate semifinal. You have so many shots. There's no more tension left. Vicky says, I agree. There's not enough tension in the current structure. Wayne says, I agree with you, Scott, but it will always be a hard sell to the elite athletes as they now have an exception of what semis games level venue should be. Expectation, I think, of what semis games level. But the problem is we're not going to succeed. We're not going to survive in the current structure. So Jenny says there's still tension. It's going to be exciting, but it's not as exciting and it's not as much tension. The beauty of playoff sports is that if you don't win, you go home. It is a one and done in most sports, unless it's baseball or basketball with a series. If you're in tennis and you're playing Wimbledon and you lose along the way, you go home. The stress and the tension of that is much higher than, well, if I don't win today, I can come back in round 4 and do another one. I'm not saying Mayhem isn't going to be great. It's got a great field with great athletes, and to see who makes it on is going to be fun. But if you're trying to get the most people to watch and the most people at an event, you need to have that piece that you need to succeed here or you go home. I'm reluctant, Jay Birch, to call it regionals because I don't think the old regional structure works anymore. It's not affordable. We have to find a modification between that and what we have today. Yeah, Hexy lover. Olympics, one and done. You go to the Olympic trials and you mess up, there's no Olympic trials part 2. And you won't get another shot for 4 years. Mayhem is great and athletes will try hard, but it does nothing for spectator and growth to make the venues worth it. And I think you have to find something that's affordable and sustainable until you can show the growth again. If this was 2018, yeah, the convention centers worked. And even then, some of the regionals were not making money. But in the Central Regional, when it was one and done, that place was packed. Nashville was packed to the roof. Every single day but Friday, because people were still working, but the weekends were packed. And the drama on Sundays at regionals was through the roof. And for us nerds, like on Sunday at Mayhem and seeing who's still in the hunt to get their ticket, we're going to be dialed in, but we lose the fringe. We lose the fringe. John George, love your idea of scaling down venues like high schools, could even use small colleges. Exactly. Like Division III schools, Division II schools, high schools. colleges might even be better because sometimes the football field is away from like the classrooms. And so it could be its own event with like a really nice parking lot with where you could set up a really nice vendor village. And then you have the track and you have the field. You just have to find those ones that have turf installed so you're not damaging the field. But it'd be like having North Park at a regional level, right? When they did the football stadium, high school football stadium in Fort Worth, there was like 16,000 people there. That's more than any games. That's more than any regional. It was packed. 2014 regional at University of Cincinnati was great. It really was, Andrew Sten. That was my first volunteer experience. And it was in the basketball arena. And then they had a warm-up area in the indoor track facility. Didn't use the turf fields for events, but definitely could have. They could have. At University of Cincinnati, you walk out of the basketball arena, and there is the practice football field right there, and a baseball stadium. Also, a great way to connect with younger audience. CrossFit needs that badly. It was free to get in Fort Worth. Well, that was my next topic, Jay Birch. So a lot of tickets have been released over the last few days, and I just wanted to take a look at a few of these. So Del Mar released their tickets. For a 3-day pass to Del Mar, it's $125. So say you're the Reeds and you're a family of 4, that's $500 for the weekend to get into Del Mar. And when you're there, again, this is up in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If someone doesn't make it to the games, they can try again at NorCal Classic, or they can do an affiliate. Do I want to pay $500 for my family to go where it's not a definitive qualifier for the games, like that it's this or nothing? If it was one of those, I'd pay that. Pay that in a heartbeat. But $125 for the weekend. Single days are $25 to $45, and then the kids' prices. So then we go to which one's this one? CrossFit Games Masters. Single day tickets are $125. Single day. Full event 3-day pass, $300. This is for the age groups. And I know that event organizers are looking at this like what it's the way we make money. But the problem is your volume of attendance is low because you're outpricing the demand for your event. You need to lower that price and try to get more volume. Then you get more volume. Then if you can say we had X thousand people there last year, then more vendors want to be there. Then you have a bigger vendor village. It's just a ball that can gain some momentum. But when you're pricing things for the Masters age group games at $300 for the weekend and $125 for the day, too much. There are only 2 old regionals that don't currently have an event, Northeast and Northwest. The event structure isn't that far off and privately funded. I agree, Wayne. I think that needs to be the way we go. But I've talked to some of these event organizers. They're not making money right now. So how long do they stay until they can't sustain it anymore? And maybe we just reduce the expectations of what that event can be. And then finally, we look at the last one, the CrossFit Games, which we looked at last night. And this happened to me last night too. We're not selling seats to the games. It's the 20th anniversary. There's seats available everywhere. And if you want a finish line seat, you're paying $800. One person, one ticket, $800. You go over here to the side, still $800. Until you get to, 101 is $640. And then if you come all the way around to clear across the arena, it's $360 for one person for the weekend. If you go up to the upper deck, it's $360 on the sides. And at the finish line, it's $480 on the corner. Straight on is $480. So there you go. It is ridiculous the amount of money after the low ticket sales the last 2 or 3 years. Why are we still outpricing the demand for the product? The key is to get more people in the door so that you can show what's available and what it can be and get more people in to the arena. And then you can advertise to more sponsors, more vendors, more things like that. But they're overpricing this, so nobody's going to show up. No vendors want to be there because there's not enough attendance for them to make their investment to go to California for this. Hiller says, I heard Taylor Swift is showing up, so these prices make sense. Yeah, that's about the only way those prices make sense. On delay, like always, that tension you describe is kind of what WFP was doing with ProCard, but they just changed things this year so well. So as well. So last year didn't really matter. I don't think that's true, Howie, but I get what you're saying. But even the WFP tension, they didn't know how to market the tension. There was no bigger tension than Sunday at a regional, and there's 5 spots on the line, and 7 guys have a shot for it, or 7 ladies, and it comes down to these 3 events: who's getting their ticket to the games and who has to wait another year. We talked about it last night. The storyline that Brent Fikowski missed out on the games by a spot 3 years in a row created tension, created a storyline, created drama. But right now you have 8 chances to make the games. So if you don't make it this weekend, you sign up for 3 more. You know, a lot of people are calling it the Luke Parker Tour. You just go to as many semifinals as you can until you can get in. And what's dramatic about that? Where's the tension? We've lost all of that over the last 5 years. All of it. We've given away the best marketing tool we had at the semifinal regional level by allowing athletes to pick and choose when and how much they compete at the semifinal level. We've thrown it away. The reason there was more tension in NorCal Classic last year is because it was the last shot. If you didn't make it there, you weren't making it. And that's what made the end of NorCal Classic the most drama-filled, tension-filled semifinal we had last year. On the women's side, it was down to Hattie Canio and Carolyne Prevost on who got in. One event, take it all, go to the games. If you don't make it, you're going home. And on the men's side, we saw what happened with Nate Ackerman. He was right there. Now, other things contributed to that tension, but that tension only happens with the other things because it's a get in or go home moment. I thought Taylor did that. But Taylor's issue would not have mattered if Nate had another chance. The reason it became a big deal is because that was Nate's last shot. And as I've said 100 times, you have to show up in the playoffs in every sport, whether you're sick, whether you're injured, or you go home. So all of this talk of, well, if I'm not feeling good on the weekend of regionals, that's my whole season, blah, 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 gone. That's sports. That's sports. It's what sports, it's why sports are great. Sports are great because the ending isn't written. And when the ending means elation in your ticket to the CrossFit Games or despair because you didn't make it, that's the drama that we need. That's the drama that makes sports great. And we as CrossFit tossed it in the garbage 5 years ago. And said we don't need it because the athletes want to have some choice. Let's give them this. Let's give them that. And I love the athletes. But Colin Morikawa played the weekend of golf at the Masters with a bad back. Yeah. Or you choose to withdraw and you don't have a shot. Because the Masters isn't going to move the date because of how your back feels. I want the drama back. I want it back. And it's so easy to do. You get one regional or semifinal, whatever you want to call it, to have your shot at the games. If you want to do the last chance qualifier for 1 or 2 spots most, after it's all said and done, fine. But I'm not even a big fan of that. I want the one shot back again. But speaking of drama, do you know who doesn't give you drama? Who actually gives you a restful night's sleep? That's Thirdzy. And salted caramel chocolate is back for a very, very limited time. Use code Jazzy at checkout. Get 15% off your order or go to thirdzy.com/Jazzy. 15% off your order. Yes, let's call it the no mulligans season. It's perfect, Wayne. You get no mulligans. You have to show up and you have to perform on the date that your playoff game is. Because let's call it what it is. The CrossFit Games season is a playoff. You eliminate players as you get to the games. Joseph Ramirez, speaking of drama, congrats on 3,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Means a lot. You guys are the best. Couldn't have done it without you guys at all. David Johnson, we got plenty of drama with the online qualifier being in the middle of the in-person semifinals. And I know you're speaking of the Masters this year. I don't want to get into Masters talk because I'm disgruntled at how the Masters athletes have treated the opportunities they were given this year. And maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow when Corey's on the show. But I am very disgruntled at you were given the thing you wanted and then nobody took advantage of it. I shouldn't say nobody. There are people that are taking advantage of it. But there it is. Shane, I'm talking about the in-person semifinals that were asked for. They were given. Those didn't exist before this year, and so few people signed up for those, to the point where it's almost a joke at what the placings are for people who are at these events. It's hard to take advantage when timing is off and there's only one spot in your age group. I know there are details that make it tough for some age groups. Other age groups, there are more than one spot, and they didn't take advantage either. So it is what it is. I'm sad because I want this for the Masters community. And it sucks that they didn't, that it wasn't more well received. If you were number 30 and 1 and 2 sign up and you've never beat them, then what? You go for the experience, but you're not making it probably. But if you're 30, you're probably not making it online either. Maybe, but it's an iffy proposition there. I don't know. We'll talk about it later in the week for sure. This is like the last week where we don't have a ton to talk about. We have Mayhem this weekend, but once Mayhem kicks off, it's bang, 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 different events that we'll get to talk about in more detail. So this week, if there's a topic you want to talk about, shoot me a DM, shoot me a comment on this YouTube channel, and we'll rack it up, knock it down. I'll make sure to be on tomorrow. I got lots of thoughts regarding the Masters. I know you do, buddy. I know you do. Larry Young, Masters still sending invites, so not a ton jumping on it. No. There aren't that many Masters competitions in the country, like in the U.S., for Masters athletes to go to and test yourself against the best. And you were given 2 new opportunities this year. It's not ideal. Timing isn't great, but they're there. Mark Phillips, who was our researcher last night, wrote a small script to pull placements for legends for each group, can post whatever list anybody wants. Before I jump off today, don't forget the Hattie episode 3 documentary is going to go live at 1 p.m. That is 11 minutes from now. That is happening 1 o'clock, 11 minutes from now, episode 3. It is day 2 at the CrossFit Games. I'm finishing up episode 4, which is the finale. And as soon as I get that up, it will be available for members. And then probably 48 hours after that, it will be available to everyone. What I'm hoping for this year is to Oh, Joe Valens, one of the contributors to the documentary. Go check out his awesome photography. What I'm hoping to do this year is I'm hoping Jamie and Carolyne both make the age group games. And I want to do a full documentary of their weekend. Well, it's not even a weekend. It's Monday through Wednesday. So that's my hope. If Jamie's healthy enough to get through the next couple weeks, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that done and get you a behind the scenes look at two people who handle competition very, very differently. But they talk a lot because they're not in the same age group. So I'm hoping to get those interactions between the two of them and kind of capture their differences. And then I think I'm going to stay for the whole week. I'll see if I can get embedded with another athlete this year, but I got to know who's going. So we'll see. Shanna says, well, I'm not spending all the money on an opportunity for one spot and then doing online. If I don't make it 1 to 2 weeks later, too much stress on the body. I understand all that. I really do. It's just disappointing because I want these types of things for the masters community. I'm not being critical of the masters community at all. I understand all of that stuff. I want it to be better. Hexy Lover, off topic. What's the latest on the Bears moving? Blaming Chicago mayor. Thoughts? I have so many thoughts. It's going to be resolved by the end of next month. We'll know whether they're staying in Illinois or moving to Indiana. Again, if you're not from that area, where they're moving in Indiana is actually closer to the existing stadium than the Illinois site that they're proposing. And it's still considered the Chicagoland area. It just has a different state who's willing to give them pretty much anything they want. I think here's the deal. Where the Bears play currently has a lot of politicalness around it. It's in the Parks District. It's run by a committee there that have not been very favorable to the Bears in their history. The governor wants Soldier Field renovations from 2003, 4-ish to get paid off. The Bears have paid off their share of the loan, and the Illinois government has pushed the payback down the road, and now they still owe money, and they want to blame the Bears for that. When the Bears initially wanted to go to Upper Arlington, which is in Illinois, they offered to pay off that loan for the state and the city, and the government officials tried to play hardball, and now the Bears are not going to go back and do that. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really care. For me, if they moved to Indiana, it's actually a closer drive for me to go than if they went to Upper Arlington. Not Upper Arlington. Arlington Heights. Sorry. So that's that. Right now, football, I'm just drafted out. The draft is next week. Everybody's talking about it. At AI, you're crazy. No way do the Bears want Geno Smith. Wayne Short, Mark, it would be interesting to see where the Legends competitors are coming from, geographic location. Are they mostly local or traveling? Wayne, mostly U.S., but almost every single group has 1 to 4 from overseas. So anyway, there it is. I tried to read Larry's thing. I don't understand. I don't have the context. I must have missed the comment earlier or something. Shannon says, I think most are staying as close as possible to where they live. So, like, there's so many factors, right? Like, Jamie is closer to Magic City than she is to Del Mar. Magic City would be a drive, but then the online semis are the very next week. And with her hip and her shoulder, the drive is too costly on her body. So she's picking Del Mar because the flight would be easier on her body and she'd have an extra week to recover for the online if needed. So, like, I think it's just, and if you do like what Mark did and you pull up all the people in their placements in quarterfinals, you can get a really good shot or vantage point of your shot at qualifying at these semifinals. Because I think at Del Mar, Jamie is in the top 3 of quarterfinals of those who signed up in her age group at Del Mar. Carolyne won quarterfinals, so it didn't really matter where she went. And I know other people had other reasons. I talked to one guy last night whose daughter is graduating the weekend of Magic City, so that took that completely out of Jamie is second behind Adrian Wingis from placements. That is very true, Shanna. You can do that for Legends, but no published leaderboard for Magic. I don't know why they don't just publish it. I don't know. It makes no sense. Maybe they don't want people to game the system. Joseph Ramirez, I'm graduating the week of online semis. What degree, Joseph? My college graduations, I wish I wouldn't have gone. I did it for my mother because she wanted to see me walk, but it wasn't that big of a deal to me. But I get it. If your daughter's graduating, that may mean more. A bachelor's in cybersecurity. Look at you, man. Job of the future. All right. I'm going to head out, get back to work. You guys, Hattie, episode 3 will release now in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You can check that out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys have killed it. We are at 3,000 subscribers. When I started this thing 6 years ago, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd have 3,000 subscribers and people who actually wanted to hang out with me every day at lunch. But you guys are the best. Love hanging out. Love doing this with you guys. And can't wait for tomorrow where hopefully we'll be back. With that, we'll see everybody tomorrow on lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys.